Hello everyone, Wookie's here. So I'm around 22 male UK. I officially have a master's in law. That's my boy. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. And my LPC, I scored the highest in my year for my master's. Good for you. I hold a lot of those achievements down to your support. Thank you. You're quite welcome. If I can be part of anything good that pleases me, that's wonderful. That makes it all worthwhile. I'm proud of you. Good for you. And Wookie says, I have listened to you for over 2 years and 2 years now, and you have honestly helped me so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. When you come up with such good results and help yourself to flourish in your life and advance towards your goals and achievements and bring about a better life for yourself, that is what makes this all worthwhile. And thank you for being productive and doing your best and never giving up until you achieve what you're looking for to accomplish. So thank you for that, making this channel and whatever I do here worth just a little bit more. And we have Aman says, hello, Mary. Hello, Aman. 19, male, India. Aman says, I have a question. Why the boy can't lift you up in second attempt from Power of Mind video, video number 7? Well, that's exactly why I put that there, to see how manipulative the power of mind can be, even to the point, to the tune of, working against the law of physics. So that tells you there's a lot more to you to be able to command, because that brain is there, but on its own, it can't do anything unless you, not the brain, commands a certain function from it, give it a directive. You select how to use its powers. And then that is in your hand, that you're using the power of the apparatus of the brain. If you understand how it works, how to communicate with it, how to command it, how to get it do things for you, it will be your servant. It will serve you well. It will do things for you, get you to achieve amazing things. But if you don't, and instead thinking that the brain is actually the representation of you, and the ability to decide and choose and has an intellect, then you're messed up. Then you're messed up, and the brain convinces you of all kind of things that it wants to convince you, and it doesn't have any understanding why or why not, because its job is to make thoughts. Then it will make you think you're a cow. It will make you think that you want to smoke a cigarette. It make you think that you want to smoke crack. It make you think that your gender is not what it's always been. It makes you think that you are a different gender than you've always been, and what you prefer, the lifestyle that you are and you prefer. All of that, it can play with it because it has no mind. It doesn't care. It's not you. It's not a persona. It's a tool. And the tool doesn't have intellect. And right now, the scientists have proven beyond the shadow of a doubt, not just philosophers, not people like me who use the work and the philosophy studies and proofs that the masters of hundreds and hundreds of years ago have brought about and proved that you're more than the brain. But science and neurosurgery and neuroscientists, neurosurgeons, through their experiments on the brain, have proven that you are beyond thought, beyond brain. You're not the brain, you're more than the brain. Brain is not you, does not represent you. What it says and utters is irrelevant to you. Only your ability, your intellect, your ability to select, choice, is the power and is the ultimate director and the leader of your life. Who you are is not in the brain. Brain is a material process. It processes things materialistic. But there is something beyond the brain and the material that makes you function. That intellect, that awareness is you. Now it's Dr. Penfeld from Canada years ago. He's a neurosurgeon and did this study of trying to stimulate the brain while the patient is awake. And brain doesn't feel pain, so they don't have to sedate you once they're in there. You don't feel anything, so they can probe while the patient is awake, and they can make you stimulate parts of the brain and make you lift your hand or lift your leg or lift or change the muscle of your facial expressions, or even stimulate you to say a word or maybe to see a light. These are things they can do, but they cannot stimulate you to allocate an agency. That where does this come from? Like you cannot, they cannot stimulate your sense of self, what you, the decisions that you make. They cannot make you change a decision or make a decision based on what they want. There is something beyond the material function of the brain is in there. They did another study, a different doctor, and Dr. Egnor actually did that as well, when he explains in his video that they even have attempted and cut the brain, severed the brain's connection. You know, there are fiber connections between the two hemispheres, which the brains supposedly are connected. So they cut that away. So they separated two sides. And you would figure if they do that and you're the brain, if you're the brain, then you would become all messed up, or you will cease to function, or you become two people, two separate personalities. But lo and behold, when they disconnected the brain, which everybody thinks they're the brain, so if it suggests that your gender is changed, oh, I must be changing, I must be living in denial. That's how you believe in it. That's how it manipulates you. But they cut the brain in half, and they figured out pretty much nothing happened. That same person with same characteristics, same everything, continued life like nothing has changed. Very, very minute things changed in the recognition of discussion about what the right side of the brain observes, and it couldn't make a certain kind of a distinction and description of that particular observation. But in all other cases, that human being didn't change to anything. The brain was functioning, he was functioning, normal things. So that proved that the brain, even if it's cut, if that is you, then you should have been falling apart. That proved that the brain is not you. And another study was done, which I forgot the name of the scientist, a neuroscientist. What they did was they put electromagnetic fields and measuring devices, and they found out that just about half a second, like they asked the participants to decide on choosing to do one simple thing, like very menial, simple thing, like pushing a button. They measured that about half a second before that person, a thought appears to push a button or to do something. About half a second before that thought appears, there's a spike in the brain through measuring magnetic fields or whatnot, however they do it. There was a spike in the brain, and then half a second later, the thought, and then the person proceeded to do the action. So The surgeon who was actually experiencing that was a brilliant surgeon, brilliant scientist, who was a materialist, like believed that the brain, that human being is every function is based on the material process of the brain, and that's it. There's nothing more. By the time he finished that experiment, he was a lifelong, dedicated dualist and defeated the materialism concept altogether by this very simple exercise. That when they were asking the participants to push a button, they recognized, measured, there's a spike in the brain half a second before the decision, and then the decision shows up, and then you go about doing it. But he went one step further. He said, now that you think that you have no free will, that what brain says, that's final and describes whatever it is that it describes or commands, then he went one further in the study. He said, when there's a spike and the decision is made by the brain to push a button, now you veto it. Because if there is nothing but the brain, you cannot veto the free will. Supposedly, there is no free will. They were proving that it's a brain that does and suggests and makes you do things, and you cannot change that. That there is no you. There's nothing beyond the brain. By commanding and asking the participants to veto it, veto what the brain has commanded to do, that showed that there is higher than the brain, which is the intellect, awareness, which you can actually change what the brain, through the material process, has decided to make you do. And you defy it. Clearly, from all corners, whether it's stimulation of the brain, whether it's showing that the free will, if they can't prove the free will, they can prove the free will not. So, in other words, you are the supreme commander over anything that the brain wants to make you to do, because you have the power of judgment and selection and the vetoing, not doing something, and then again turning and deciding to do something. So it's all you, not the brain. Brain is a tool, apparatus. Between all these exercises and experiments, beyond the shadow of the doubt, the work of masters of philosophy of hundreds and hundreds of years ago is proven scientifically that you're not the brain, brain is not you, hence you're not thoughts that the brain makes, and thoughts are not you. Professor Schwartz, in his book Brain Lock, discussed that and proved that and works on that for treating OCD, HOCD, and all other subsets of OCD. And you can see the works of many neuroscientists who have worked and shown that there is power that's beyond the brain, and you are not the material that you visualize, you see. There is a connection with the nature, and there's a connection with the intellect that is not described or part of the description of the function of the brain. So just because it does math doesn't mean it's smart. In fact, from the studies and research that I've done on the basis of the scholars and scientists, I conclude that brain doesn't actually think. Brain computes like a computer. The question comes about that, can computers think? The answer is no. They'll never be able to think, because computers compute. An input goes in and an output comes out, and what happens from between the input and output is a process that takes place based on the algorithm that is written for that computer to process whatever is inputted. So when you even type something in the computer, you push a button, it goes and clicks on something and recognizes, signifies, and therefore through the algorithm, it recognizes the alphabet A or whatever it is you want to write. And the synchronization and the structure and algorithm is put in it so it can correct the word based on what the possibilities should be. Now, if you understand that this is different than intellect, just because it's able to compute, it doesn't make it intellectual or aware. It's not like the movie, what was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Skynet. It becomes aware of itself. So, same thing with the brain. Brain is a computing machine. It computes. It doesn't have the intellect. The intellect, the awareness that can veto and makes selections and choices and judgments based on your core values, your gatekeeper. Dr. Phillipson calls it gatekeeper. Dr. Schwartz calls it wise advocate. I call it superconsciousness. Not that I compare myself with those two scientists, but hey, let me just throw something in. So based on your values, your intellect, your awareness makes choices and judgments on the works of other parts of the existence that we have, including brain, what it computes, you make the judgment. So it's a computing apparatus, but most of you have been falling victim to and to think that it is you. So what it conjures up, spits out, you take it as if it has any intellect behind it that has made that kind of a calculation or summation, such as in HOCD and OCD, trying to suggest, if you're heterosexual, trying to suggest that you're homosexual, that you've been living in denial, that you want to kiss that other guy. And all these thoughts affects the body reacts to thoughts because the brain is very powerful, and then you forget the fact that you always have the choice, the power of choice and the intellect to judge and decide, and based on your values, allow or don't allow something to become an action or actuality or not, and ignore and move on and focus on what it is that you seem fit and beneficial to you, and judge to allow it, to attempt it, to pay attention to, focus on or not. So in other words, you are way beyond the brain, which is an apparatus, a part of your being. Yet most people are bamboozled. That's why all these OCDs and pedophilia OCD, harm OCD, homosexual OCD, all other subsets of OCD can manipulate you into believing and thinking that you can be changed. Your gender is changing. You're not what you've always been. You've been living in denial. You're going to be different. Well, we've talked about it. If you can be changed, and obviously you can change back to something else and then change back, and so all your life going to be changing. So, but this intellect of yours and wisdom and awareness of yours, the power of choice, is the one that actually keeps you to focus on what you've been born as and created as, and continue your life the way that it's meant to be. And whatever you've been born as, you've been born a homosexual, you'll be homosexual, you'll enjoy your life and accomplish your life and embrace your life. You've been born heterosexual, you'll enjoy your life, embrace your life, love your life, and go through life as what you've been created and born at birth. The rest of it is all these malfunctions that we talk about, and now science has proven it beyond the understanding of the inward analyzation understandings of the psyche, and how it can bamboozle and how powerful it is. And if you don't understand how to communicate with it, what its powers and limitations are, then you'll always be at the mercy of what this muscle thinks, what this muscle functions, how this decides, rather than you decide. Who is the person, you or an organ of you? Are you, there is a you here, and then all these brain and all the other things were added to it? as we know, only 40,000 years ago, we were given the sophisticated brain, or at least started developing that. Beyond that, before that, for a million years, we were living perfectly well, hardwired, everything was clear, no doubts, no questions, no nothing, no illusions, because we were like living like animals, all based on instincts and stem brain. We didn't have any more than that to complicate things. We weren't able to think or speak. And thought is the root of all problem, because it creates all these kinds of illusions and summations and hypotheses, and then you fall for it, and then you become distracted to figure it out. But until 40,000 years ago, we were living over a million years, and we never had any of these intrusive thoughts or challenges that most people today have. So if you understand this, all these have been added to you. That means to add it to what? Added to me. So there was a me, there was a you, there was that intellect that is beyond brain before the brain was added to you. So how could now something that's been added to you become you, and then command and say and suggest that you're not this, you're that, and you've never been this, you've been that? No, that's... So on that note, you can rest assured that you are more powerful than the brain, and brain is not you, you're not the brain, and it's proven with all these scientists, and there's no doubt about this, and the fact that you should doubt your brain, not you. All right, let's go and see who else we have here. We have Luna. I hope that answers your question, Aman. Luna says, Salam Heran Jan, كيفك اليوم؟ Salam Luna Jan. Tamam, shukran. Chester, Luna says, glad as always to be tuning in from UK 36 female. Thank you for that. I'm delighted to be here as well. And again, I guess there's been a spike these past 2 weeks, and everybody is hunkering down and becoming more careful. So I hope that you guys are okay in UK as well. I know it's kind of pretty serious there as well. And Swati says, hi Meran, how have you been? Thank you very much. Swati says, I'm 35, female, USA, Jersey City. Can you suggest how to overcome social anxiety? I feel very odd with sweaty palm, heart beating, fumbly voice when I start speaking in public. But on the other hand, once I'm not speaking in a non-professional manner, then I'm totally myself. People think that I have immense self-confidence. It just happens to me when I talk in a professional setting, like giving presentations in class or office. This has been happening to me since my school days. Elsewise, I am very outspoken and friendly. Well, I have actually a video, I think, on social anxiety. I believe how to speak in public or something like that. I don't remember what I said in it, and I'm probably not going to go into detail, but I can tell you a few things that perhaps you can ponder on right here, but then you may want to find that video and see what I have on that. Just put the word social or anxiety, and then either one of the two in the search engine of my channel, and it should come up. But in the meantime, understand that the reason you are, or at least one of the reasons that you're uncomfortable or you feel the way you feel, is because since childhood you've been brainwashed that you're not good enough. In order to know who you are, how good you are, you got to compare yourself with others. You got to be better than somebody. And this competition to be better than somebody brings a certain stress. Like you're in the line to do a track meet, and there are 10 people in the same starting point. So you have this little nervousness or anxiousness to do your best because there are other 10 people that could have a chance or could beat you and you want to beat them. It's no longer about how fast you can run at that moment. What's going through your mind is that I want to beat these. These are the threats. So your competition has turned from doing the best you can, being better than your capabilities, bringing the best capabilities you have out to use your abilities to the best of your abilities. It has changed that concept that we are supposed to follow in life to how many people I should be better than. I should beat them all. Because if I don't, they will beat me. And that has a meaning to you. That I'm not good enough because somebody did something faster or a little better than me. That makes me not good enough. Because the only way I'm good enough is if I'm better than anybody ever, forever. That's why these Guinness Books of Records and people go nuts to put their names in there. So what? Okay, you did something great. Okay, I understand that. It's got a fun thing to it, and okay, you achievement, so on. I understand all that. But in this level, that is not about setting up records. You are not focusing on what you want to do. You're focusing on who's going to think about you in what way. That gets in the way of you focusing on what am I here for? If they knew better, I would be sitting there and they would be presenting. So the fact that I am presenting, that means I know better than they do. And they're here to learn from me. That should give you a certain level of confidence that you are here by qualification. The fact that you're on the podium puts you at a certain level that you don't need to focus on who you're competing with or who you're going to who's going to judge you, but on what you want to deliver. And you want to help them to learn something or share what you know with them. Neither you want to teach them, nor you think that they're qualified to judge you, because you're there to share information. You don't worry about how they're going to take that information, if they're going to refute it, they're going to debate it, or they're going to accept it. That's your worry. You are thinking about, are they going to agree with me? Because we've been learned that in order to be right, we have to have other people agreeing with us. Bullshit. You can be right without other people having to agree with you. What if there are a bunch of idiots out there and they can't understand? If you go to a class, second grade or third or fourth or fifth grade of school, elementary school, and you teach algebra from 12th grade, they don't agree with you what you say. That means you're wrong? They don't have the understanding, the capacity to understand. They haven't followed that experiences, and they haven't gotten to where you are to understand what you're talking about. So stop hoping that somebody agrees with you. What if they don't agree with me? What if they don't accept what I'm saying? What you're saying is not based on somebody else's brain judgment who's sitting there for the first time going to hear about it, or somewhat other professionals going to hear about it. It's based on what research you have done and what sources you have, and you've prepared that, already taken care of it. So instead of focusing on who's going to take it and what they're going to think of me, what their opinion going to be about how I delivered what I said, the content and all that, focus on what it is that you're there for. You're there to share a certain kind of research or information. And the fact that you're here and they're there, that makes a difference. That you're supposed to be there to help them. You're not there to impress them. You're there to help them. They can feel that. Then nobody's going to focus on whatever else you think they should be or they could be focusing on. They'll be focusing on seeing what they can learn from you, because you are there. You show that you're there to help them, not to impress them, not to boast on it, about yourself. And the last thing I want to say at this point for you is that there's a trick that I used when I was freshman in university. There was a guy that was master of ceremony of the international fairs that we had every year, and we had like 2,000 parents show up in the gymnasium, and then we had a big stage, and we had performances of different nationalities, different countries. And there was a guy who was doing this, for 4 years. He was a senior, and he was from Turkey actually. And that year they were auditioning for Master of Ceremony again, and I happened to be the better choice from all the faculties who were judging. But they said, well, that guy is a senior and has been doing this for the past 3 years. We can't just kick him out because the freshman, I was a freshman, this guy is much better than him, of course, but let's just give it to him so it won't, they wanted to be somewhat, not kind of hurt the other guy's feeling. That's what I think, because I know that they preferred me. They said so, but they said that guy is older. So anyhow, I was a young guy without experience of talking in front of 2,000 people. And mind you, I tell you a little short story about it that you may enjoy, but the message here is that I was it 19 years old? 18? I was 18 years old, 18 or 19, I don't know. And then obviously I was apprehensive about this whole business. 2,000 people, I mean, all parents. I'm what? They're like in their 50s or 40s, and I'm what, 19? So obviously I was concerned. My brother gave me a little hint at the last moment, or was it a couple of days before it? And he said, if you ever, and I used it and it worked. He said, if you ever were nervous in talking in front of a bunch of people in a classroom or in some kind of a, organized meeting or whatnot, you're conscious about what those people are thinking, who they are, and they're a bunch of faces, and you think their lives are all scientifically or all balanced, and they're such wise people, whatever. You may have different kind of a imagination about them, and that makes you think maybe something you should be concerned about or nervous about, what their judgment can be. He said, all you have to do is just imagine them all naked. Think of them all in their underwears. Just imagine them all sitting with their shoes and socks in their underwear. And he says, you will burst into laughter, and you will relax, and you will not see them as anything superior. You will see them as just a bunch of people who actually look ridiculous, and you're there thinking that their judgment means anything about you. So, and I sure as hell did that, and I laughed right there. Nobody understood why I was laughing for a bit, but then I quickly, saw the merits of it, and of course, I did a great job, and so it was good. So you can do that. You can do that at least, and then see how that works for you. All right. Carpe Diem says, Chester, male 27, Hawaii. Aloha, Meran. Aloha, Chester. Mahalo. Says, long time no see. Hope you are doing good. Did you see the recent episode of The Mandalorian? Oh, yes. Wasn't that cool? It was amazing. I actually loved it very much. I actually watched it yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. I was one day late. But yeah, they did a good job. Really good. Boba is there. Django's son. It was cool, wasn't it? And I loved the whole the meditation thing that the child was doing. The little Yoda was doing. Baby Yoda. It was so amazing. I could feel the actual experience. It was so perfectly done. That scene of the meditation of the Baby Yoda on that round rock. I would have loved to be on that round rock and just, wow, what a place to meditate. All right. And so we have Carpe Diem says, good to see you, Mayron 42, male, Canada. Good to see you too. I can't see you guys, but good of you to be here, Carpe Diem. And says Maran, how do we deal with the epidemic of loneliness? Well, the fact is that you have become unaware of the fact that you're not lonely. You have summed up the meaning of not being lonely to being with other human beings, and you've detached yourself from everything else that's surrounding you and is part of this life and part of this nature and universe which you are part of. And by focusing on one tree in a forest, you may begin to think there are no other trees because all you're focusing on is that one tree, and you've made that to be the condition of if this is a forest or not. And you have become someone who's focusing on loneliness means if I have friends or not, if I have human friends or not, if I'm connected to friends or other humans or not, that makes me lonely or not. But many times we are friends with people and that makes us more lonely because they're all problems and drama and all kinds of things. Whether it's a male friend or a female friend, it's a relationship or it's just, knowing people. There could be all kinds of, but you have missed the idea of being connected with the nature, being connected with your life, with the power of life that runs through you. That is what connects the whole world together. That is why we are not lonely when you think you are, but physically you may not see something holding your hand or sitting there or talking with. But in reality, you are part of the whole. You are what makes this universe to be what it is. You are part of the fragments of this that makes it whole, complete. Every one of us, every tree, every dog, every horse, every human being, every drop of water, everything has energy in it, and we are all part of that energy. Do not separate yourself from the energy and say, I'm alone. It's like taking the drop of the water out of the ocean, say, this is the drop. This is not a drop. This is drop of the ocean. This is part of the ocean. This is a piece of the ocean here. It's connected to the ocean. You let it down, it rolls back to the ocean. Evaporates, go back and rains on the ocean. This energy is like that. We are all part of this whole energy soup. We are in it, connected, whether you see it physically connected or not. We are connected through this energy that runs through us and keeps us all developing and alive, nourishes us. It's like fish not being aware of the water, but it's part of the water. It's in the water. You've lost about what you are living in. The environment that you're living in is not when there are a couple of people here close by in close proximity. Through this energy, you're connected with everything in this world. You're never alone unless you allow to think that you're alone. Then you focus on that, and that becomes your illusory reality, and you buy into it, and then you conclude that I'm alone. But in fact, you're not alone. You're just thinking and believing a thought about being alone because you're not focusing on the fact that you're connected to everything. The meaning of the word alone in dictionary, it comes from all one, meaning when you're alone, meaning you're part of all. You're one with all. You're not alone in the way of lonely. In fact, all one was the origin and the roots of the word alone in the dictionary. So we need to understand the real meaning of it. And the problem is in today, in everything, whether it's an OCD or any subset of OCD, the problem with the brain is that we've been conditioned to deal with conclusions. A word has a meaning. A meaning is coming from a conclusion, and then suddenly you jump over the circumstance and the fragments of what you are trying to interpret, and you jump into the conclusion. Now you're dealing with the conclusion without having any evidence for it, but because that particular word has a meaning in the dictionary, and the dictionary acts as a conclusion. And we have learned, being conditioned to deal with conclusions rather than fragments of these, and dissect them and understand them, analyze them, and then have the jig to be opened up for us to know everything about it, instead of being fooled and dealing with the meaning of a word, which is a conclusion of something, and suddenly you find yourself, you're not dealing with something very unimportant, you're dealing with a conclusion, which is a concept, and now you freak out. Like, for example, in OCD and subsets of OCD, such as HOCD, if you walk around and seeing another male, another same gender, who's handsome, and you recognize that good looks, suddenly, instead of just staying with what it is, observing the simple idea of that person looks good, you go to the conclusion, because these days everything has a conclusion, and conclusion is that homosexuality. That suddenly you're no longer faced with the fact that somebody looks good. The word has association with the concept of homosexuality. Suddenly you think, oh, was that a homosexual inclination I just had? And the negative brain runs with it, and you go nuts. And suddenly you're far away from a simple ability of the human being to recognize what is well-designed, symmetric, good looks or not. That's all there is to it. Nothing about it. But suddenly it became some kind of a humongous trigger of something, because of all these concepts have become the conclusion, and we are dealing with conclusions instead of fragments of things that are just simple part of the nature and part of what human life is. So focus on your connection with nature, and focus on the connection with life. The loneliness will not mean anything, because really, in this day and age, I mean, if it was like 1,000 years ago, I can understand if somebody could feel lonely, because no information, super information highway was available, internet or anything. Everybody was disconnected pretty much, unless they would physically walk to some other village and, socialize. But now there's so many entertainment and so on. So you cannot even feel if you're not having other human beings around you. So anyhow, and then beyond that, you get up and initiate project socializing. If that's what you want, you command it. You get up, figure out where to go, where socializing can take place. Of course, these days, nowhere we are encouraged to not, engage in any social interactions because of the COVID and all that. But in the meantime, you can find other things that entertains you. I don't know, whether it's, I play chess sometimes. I do my work, I play chess. Create projects for yourself, then you get busy with solving the problems of that project. For example, just a few nights ago, I did 5 segments of video, which I really like to upload that. But when I finished the 5 set before I could edit it, the tremendous, horrendous sound of buzzing in there that it just I can hardly hear myself. So I gotta now find a sound engineer to clean this out and get me out of there and get those statics. They're terrible statics. I even put it on one of these programs on internet, Audacity, and it cleaned it out, but then my voice is tubish and not so recognized, and it's not my voice anymore. It's something that I'm saying, but it's not clear. So I gotta find an engineer, a sound engineer, who can actually, get all the garbage out and just leave me and my voice there so I can deliver what I want. So these are the problems that projects brings, but then again makes you busy and you never feel like, you don't have time to be alone. All right, I hope that was something for you to ponder. And Swati says, okay, we talk about that, and then And Aman says, I saw a video of Dr. Philipson from your links. Aha, good. He's brilliant, isn't he? And I saw in one video he said about comorbidity and said about weak limbs and depersonalization, and I finally found out I'm suffering from it. Okay, good. Reach out to his team and ask him to help you if you can, or read on it and so on, and figure it out. Good for you. Yeah, Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner, these are all brilliant people in the psychotherapy field and scientific and the world of science and so on. So, good. Carpe Diem says, thumbs up for my favorite YouTuber. Thank you very much. Thumbs up, guys. Well, there's 11 people, 12 thumbs up. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And Chester says, Mehran, how do you stay positive when things aren't going your way, our way? Negative things that we can't control. You stated that the meaning of life is the experience of living. How do we keep our heads up? Do you have any other choice? That's what it comes at, too. If you answer this to yourself, what are your choices? Miserable, happy. Which one do you want? Keeping my head above the water or letting it drown me? Which one do you want? It's not about what's going to be presented to you. It's about your choice. What choice do you want for your life? What kind of quality do you want in your life? Just as you can choose apple versus orange, this food or that, you go to a mall and amazing food in Hawaii, and you may choose, I don't know, garlic spare ribs or chow mein or mahi mahi, or depends on what you want. You make a choice. You make a choice in life. Who I talk to, who I don't talk to, what I eat, what I don't, what actions I participate in, what I don't. These are all your powers. You make choices. What my inclination is, what I'm not interested in, I'll protect that. You choose, not what is suggested by other people or the brain. You choose. You have the power of choice. The power of choice saves you in life to keep you in line with your values and what you prefer and what you think is right for you. Power of choice is mightier than anything that the brain can conjure up. You veto it. You choose different. You select. You show who's the boss. You are, not the brain. So, regardless of the severity of the situation in life, we seem to always have a choice. I know sometimes the choices may not be like, even if we are in the gallows and says, okay, you want to chop your head with a guillotine or we shoot you, you have a choice. So what I'm trying to say is that your choices dictate to you the staying positive or negative. Which one is better for you? Which one serves you better? Which one do you prefer? That's where the answer is. Not what's been thrown at me. I don't have to. In Aikido, we just move away. We don't have to hold on, resist it, grab it, push it back, hit it back, and throw it away. Just move a step aside. Let it pass by. That attack, whatever it is, or something thrown at you. That's what we mostly do, right? When somebody throws a baseball at us, the first thing we do, we actually, we don't just do this, we also move out of the way. And in Karate Kid, Miyagi-san always said what? No be there. So, what is this fly doing here? So, no be there when there is an attack. So, no be there when there is negativity. Move away, go somewhere else, do something else. What are your choices? Happy, sad, positive, negative. Do this or do that. You choose. The power of choice frees you, saves you. That's the ultimate power. It doesn't matter what else is being uttered, suggested, or whatever. Although I have a video on it, I think if you just maybe say, you keep your head up because that's the only choice we have. Why should I not keep my head up? Why should I not focus to better myself? If I want something, I gotta take steps forward, steps towards it. So if something is not working as good as it does, it should, well, I do more. I try harder. I learn more. If that is what I want, then I take steps towards preparing for it and becoming better at it. If I want to be a fast runner, I exercise. If I want to be a good equestrian, I train with my horse. If I want to be a good tennis player, I keep doing and learning and researching, getting good coaches and so on, and following the instructions and get it to become a natural happening in me through neuroplasticity, through constantly doing it, like playing piano. Practice makes perfect. This whole practice makes perfect that comes from old time is very scientific, because practice gets the neurons get into the conditioning that to become good at that what you do a lot of. So it's through neuroplasticity that you become very good at. So it's a practice makes perfect. It really means if you keep doing something, the neurons will create bridges between the two ends to allow that behavior to become part of your nature. And then you become good at it. And when you don't play piano for a while, those same bridges between those two neurons that made you a good piano player will be marked with CQ1 protein, and the microglial cells, when you sleep at night and the brain shrinks about 60%, go and find which neurons, which bridges are not used, and they mark it, and then they destroy it. And then you have the neurons available to learn other things. So just as you can learn, you can also unlearn. So you learn how to make happiness part of your default being. I have a video says conditioning for happiness. Just go into my search engine and put in happiness. There must be one that says conditioned or reconditioning for happiness, something to that nature. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. It says, where can you find happiness after a long time of not being happy? I think that's perhaps what you might want to take a look at. There is the link for it. And if you just go in and put the word happiness, you will see how to rewire for happiness after breakup or depression. So that's another interesting one that perhaps you want to enjoy. And then the rest of it you can judge yourself. Just in the search engine put in the word happiness and see what comes up, and then go from there. Wine Love, what a lovely screen name. I like that positive connotation of it. I'm not a wine drinker, but wine always have this connection to nature, like vineyards and wine and grapes and so on. And of course, love is love. Female, 30, Los Angeles, says, I told my best friend my very personal secret. I was going crazy and needed to tell somebody and get advice, since I cry daily from that secret and pain. Now I'm not as close to as him. I'm worried he might tell my other group of friends, even though he promised before. It's been a while since I talked to him about that issue. But should I call him and tell me, can you make sure? No, no, leave it. Tell others about myself. No, you're constantly, we have expression in Farsi, my mother tongue, that it says, you don't go in front of the police and say, police, police, please don't, don't, don't apprehend me. I haven't done anything. What? Even if you haven't done anything, the police is gonna wonder. Maybe she has. Maybe I should apprehend her. So what's the idea? You want to call the guy, say, please don't say what is very important for me. So you're giving him power. Tomorrow he's going to show up at the door and says, hey, how about a tea together? And then you say, this is your secret. So don't give him that kind of a idea that it's so important to you. You've said it once and that's it. If he does say it to the other people, then it's so stupid. Otherwise, always got to be following him around to make sure he doesn't say anything. But you made a mistake telling your secret to someone you shouldn't have. You wanted advice? Well, you could have made an appointment with me in my site, mind@seekstruth.com. Let me plug in here just a moment. Mind@seekstruth.com. You can go and make an appointment for a Skype consultation, one-on-one on Skype with Mehran. So, God damn it, you have the facilities. You go talk to some guy, and then later on you gotta wonder what if he's gonna spill the beans or not. So, no soup for you. No. So it says, and then One Love says, tell others, make sure that you won't. Can you make sure not to tell others about my secret, or just leave it? I regret telling him. Yeah, you learn a lesson. There's a cost for it. So, but I really needed to at time. Well, then what am I here? Beets and celery? I mean, that's the expression, Farsi expression. So, meaning, what am I doing here? You're supposed to call me. Then how is the channel is going to make money if you guys don't use the services? What the hell is wrong with you guys? And this is okay. Or religiously, I regret telling him and I needed to get him, but I really needed to at the time, and get anxious this going public, ruining my reputation. What do you think? Ruin you for what? Do you think the people that might hear about whatever this secret is, that they don't have any secrets? They're hypocrites. They all have shit all over their pants, and they're trying to pretend that, oh, you got some bit of a mark on your pants. They have it. Everybody's got some kind of a shit happening in their life. So don't worry about it. Don't tell your secret to other people. Number one rule, you do not tell your secret to people who are not your, you've not thought it through who they are and so on, and what are the possibilities may be. Now, Visa Oradi 2212 says, Uncle, do you know much about narcissists? Well, enough. Enough to know to stay away from those assholes. And Linda says, hey Mehran, long time no see. How are you? Still alive? I see you still alive. Linda says, female, 60, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for that. Good to see you here. And who else do we have here that I haven't said hello to? Ross says, hi Mehran, male 31 UK. Hello Ross. I'll get back to you. Just want to say hello to everyone. Anur says, hello. What do you think about overcome laziness. All right, don't be lazy. That's the end of that. I'll be right back with you. And Mr. DKB21, this is male 21 USA, says, what do you recommend for someone to do if their partner cheated on them after 1 decade of being in that relationship with no kids? Get rid of him. Meaning, stop the relationship. I didn't mean it in any other way. Just, just say, okay, have a nice day. Now go with the ones that you preferred. If you can do this, then obviously I don't know when you will stop doing it. Luna says, how are Mama Son, your brother, and Rain all doing? Almost forgot to ask. Thank you, Luna. Brother is fine. He was released the same day from the hospital, and it was just a little bit of a fluid, I guess, in the lungs. So they gave him a couple of water pills. So it cleared the lung till the afternoon. And then he came home, and we were very glad. Thank you for asking. Mom is okay. I was there yesterday, but it's very different, you know. Same mother that used to take me, and I would watch her play tennis with the coach and run around, get the tennis balls for her, and she would drive me to horseback riding clubs and always, you know, taking me to school and so on. And then now she can hardly remember very simple things from the past. So we were enjoying a visit and laughing and so on, but at the same time, it was, I could see the difference, and she could see it. She was saying it herself that, you know, she says, I can't remember even simple things. Like some of the stories that she always told me about how it was, like one day when she took me to the club for my horseback riding, and then some interaction there, and it was funny. And then yesterday I was saying the same story. They said, Mom, do you remember? She couldn't remember any of it. So I don't remember that. And it's just, yeah, it's yeah, thanks very much for asking, dear. Okay, now. Okay, Abdi says, how do I know if it's HOCD denial? Then you watch my video. I've got a prescription for everything out here. I don't have to talk about anything. You just ask a question, I just show you the video. And that would make it a very easy live streaming. So, where is it? Well, you go to my playlist, um, and it's called Intrusive Transient OCD, HOCD, Negative Thoughts. That playlist, look for the one that says, Are You in Denial? Let me see if I can find it for you here. Yeah, if you go on that playlist, you will see it. It's right there. So it's not picking up right now. So, okay, now let me go back to to the questions, because it looks like there's so many. I wouldn't be able to say hello to everyone, I guess. No? So Abdi, hello Abdi. Sid is here. It says, hello General, male 32, Estonia. I miss you. I miss you too, Sid. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing good. Hope everything is good. You're sorting things out. How long has it been since we've talked? 2 months now, no? I think so. Wine Love says, thanks for the advice. And Aman, we said hello. Odd HZZ said, how to stop test yourself on HOCD. Stop testing yourself. It's bullshit. You don't need to test yourself. You know, it's like saying, how do I stop checking to see if I can see? Well, you can see. What do you want to test for? Who is that test for? The brain, the negative brain, is conjuring up questions. I told you, don't give a shit about what the brain does, says, suggests. It's nonsense. The most stupid part of your body is the brain, because it thinks it knows things, but it doesn't. And you're supposed to be way over this, understanding that you're the intellect, you're the awareness, not the brain. So don't give a shit about what the brain thinks. Your choices, what you want to be, not the brain. The brain is garbage. The brain is the problem. Understand that, for heaven's sake. And so who else we have here? That's it. So we've said hello, so we go back to the questions. So we go to last question we had. Okay, the secret. Okay, then we had, Uncle, do you know much about narcissism? Okay, I answered that. I said I know some. Carpe Diem says, Mehran, my ex-wife started to contact me again after 10 years. She's asking more questions about my life, but is not providing any answers to my questions. What do you think her motive is? Regardless of what her motive is, you just don't answer her as if she's your wife or if you need anything to her. Just say, well, I'm fine, thank you. Why do you ask? Or if it's a somewhat of a sensitive question. If, for example, she says, are you in a relationship? And you can say, are you? Just answer her questions with a question. Let her not feel like she has something you need, because that is why she's not offering any information. And once you open yourself up, the same girl, what is this? I'm going to get my tennis racket and beat the crap out of you, fly. Fly away. McFly? I'm going to call Marty. All right. Or Doc. Come and deal with you. So, yeah, so answer her questions with the questions. Don't answer straightforward. Just say, oh, you seem to have lots of questions for me. What's going on in your life? Change it. And then she says, oh, nothing. He says, well, you know, I'm good. Thank you. I'm glad that you're doing good. So let's talk about something else, because I think we both are having our lives, set straight here. And if she asks for something that you think, oh, you can answer, well, answer short. And then follow it up by, what about you? And then she doesn't answer and ask another question and say, hey, listen, you asked me a question, I answered it, but why is it that you just ask questions, don't answer the questions? What about you, I said. Get her engaged in talking rather than being interviewed, giving her the right to interview you and you not asking. You're setting you're allowing the setup to go as she has planned it, or she's whatever, for whatever reason doing it. Just maybe she has no intentions. Maybe she just wants to see how you are. But you don't have to be as communicative as you've always been unless there is a reason for it. Like you can see there's some kind of a positive emotion has been extended towards you, or you feel it's justified to answer such a question. Otherwise, if there's nothing in it for you, why you answer all that question? You know, I say, what's going on with your life? Are you flirting with you? What are you hunting for? Simple, you know, and with smiley face, you know, just funny. And then get her to notice that, listen, you know, you come to church, you either pray or you don't come in. What are you here for? So pretty much that's the translation from my proverb from my own mother tongue language. All right, Ross says, hi Mehran, male 33 UK, 31 UK, sorry about that, aged you by 2 years. Lately I've been feeling low, join the club, even more than usual. Uh-huh. That means you got to extend more energy then. You feel low, get some activity. You can't get an activity unless you start stirring up the pot. You know, the pot sinks everything in it. Rice, mud, whatever. You leave it alone, it sinks and becomes immovable. And you want it to see things moving, you got to stir it. You got to throw something into it. Create action, energy. So for yourself, you feel you're low mood, you got to exercise. Get out of that rut. Do something interesting for yourself. Not necessarily exciting, but interesting. I don't know, exercise, run, push up, I don't know, things you like to watch, or discussions, or research, things you want to learn. My videos, for heaven's sake, the 2,000 videos now on this channel. Pretty much anything you're looking for, you can get something to know about it. All right. And Ross says, says more than usual. It's still linked to an ex-girlfriend that didn't work out a while ago, but still hurts when I know she most likely with some other. So what? What's got between her legs? Gold? What are you missing? It's a biological entity. She has needs to socialize and you have needs, so she could provide that pleasure of companionship and exchange and then intimacy. So what's so heavenly special about her now, up to now that we talked about it? The other women have the same capabilities, and so what? We all, you know, complement each other. You know, a girl needs you, you need the girl. But it's not that only one girl. Just so happens to be that's the one was available you experienced with her. So you think, oh, it's all in her hands. No, it's not. You go find another girl and you will feel the same, if not better, because she's with you. This one is left. Yeah, so you're giving too much credit to the relationship that is no longer working. The problem with us is that when a relationship is severed, we still give it the same attention as if when it was not severed. And you expect the same reactions and same pleasures from a broken relationship that is no longer you're together as when you were together. Why don't you understand the fact that it's not together for a reason, and that reason stands even now that you're not together, just as it stood when you were together. That's why you're no longer together. If there was no issues and you could have been continuing your relationship and staying together, you would have. The fact that you're not means it didn't work out. What doesn't work out, why do you want to be together with something that doesn't work out? So yes, you missed the garnishing, but the main course wasn't palatable. That's why you told the servant to the garçon or the waiter, come and take this food away. Or the food, was taken away because it was of not a quality that was compatible to your expectations. The manager of the restaurant saw it, the waiter saw it, or I don't know, the chicken wasn't cooked well, just got up and left. Whatever reason, the main dish was not suitable. But you're now thinking about, but the garnishing was good, the pleasure, the sex, and this and that, and I felt good about myself. That was good. Yes, but you can't have a relationship with the pleasure. You can't have a relationship with, I was feeling good about it. You can't have a pleasure, oh, it looked good when we walked together. That's not a relationship. You can't have a relationship with, it looked good when we walked together. You have a relationship with the persona of that girl. You have a relationship with the consciousness of that girl. The two consciousnesses are compatible or not. Relationship is between two consciousnesses, with two people, not with the garnishing. Oh, you know, I had sex with her and it was good, so for that reason, I'm still thinking about her. Really? Why did you guys break up? Oh, well, you know, we were not compatible. So you were not compatible. Something was not right. And you guys decided, or one of you did, to sever it. But now you say, even so, I just want that garnishing. But for the garnish's sake, I'm willing to put up with what wasn't really good. Can you hear yourself? In other words, hear me thinking for you. So if you do that, then I think half of the problem would be away. The other half would be look for somebody else. And there's so many pretty girls. You're in the UK, aren't you? Aren't there enough girls there, enough pretty girls there? I remember one of the discos I went to on my way from my summertime. I went from school to Iran, and then I had my, either whatever, summer competitions or equestrian and all that. I had a great time, and I was on my way back. And so I stayed in this hotel. It was a brand new hotel called Penta Hotel. It was an airline hotel. It was an amazing, nice, chic. And then I went to this disco. I had like 4 days layover there. So I decided to just do shopping and stuff like that. And I went to this disco. I saw one of the most beautiful girls I'd ever seen in my life in a disco in London. You guys have pretty girls all over. So what are you so hung up on this one? Jesus. Honestly. Okay. And Russ says, also, I don't have many friends anymore. And I'm withdrawn and don't speak to many people. Change them! These are your choices. Don't follow what the brain suggests. Change them. Go talk to people. Find friends. You're living. Until the last breath, we live. And this is many people, including family. I don't speak to many people, including family. I fear for the further. Anyhow, do you guys hear me after so long talk? I hope you guys are hearing me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see. Is this settings sometimes doesn't work? Oh, yeah. Good. Okay. Freaked out. So many audio stuff. I don't know. My good camera is messed up. My good microphone is messed up. All right. So where was I? And where was I? And it says, I fear to the future and don't have much to look forward to. Really? So much out there. It's just you're confined to this quarantine shit. Don't worry, things eventually will pass. There are other issues I have too, which are too personal to discuss, but they make me feel really down sometimes. Why the hell don't you make an appointment with me on Skype? Yeah, pay some money. It's all right. It won't go too far. It'll be spent on the channel. God damn it, guys, don't be stingy. Make appointments on Skype and talk to me. That's what I'm here for. These are just, the crumbs. These are just little bits. It's like a drug dealer. I'm giving this free so you guys see the quality of the merchandise. But you're smarter than me. Nobody's biting in. It's I'm usually busy, but it's been 2 days. It's been very quiet. I'm wondering what the hell is going on. Has everybody solved their problems with all these consultations that we had on Skype? What's going on? It's too quiet. I'm not used to that. Fewer points a day at least. So get on with it, guys. Go work, make money, come spend it on mental health. Damn it. All right, now. Linda says, hey, Meran. Okay, we did that. We did that with Linda. Linda, you're from Toronto, aren't you? Yeah, I remember you. Yeah. And Honor Embre says, hello. What do you think about overcome laziness? How can we do this and why it happens? Well, you're probably, there's something that is keeping you depressed. You're not lazy. You just don't have a motivation for something new, maybe a new girlfriend or a new hobby or something you want to learn. Maybe something went wrong in your life or something is not to your liking or concerns you and cause you a bit of a low mood, depression, and that makes you not want to do things. And when you don't want to do things, you feel lazy. So you got to kick yourself in the butt and get up and go for a walk. Go do some kind of, you've got nice parks there. And where are you? Where are you? First of all, guys, you forgot the protocol. Okay, I'm going to move on. Anybody who doesn't give me a protocol, so I start talking without knowing how old you are, where you are, what your gender is. These are limited things that I need. So, Anur, I'm going to stop talking to you until I get those information. I'm going to be mean now. Now, Mr. DKB21 says, Male 25 USA says, what would you recommend for someone to do if their partner cheated on them after 1 decade of being in a relationship with no kids? What do you think you should do? Do you think you're going to forget that? If you are, then go ahead. If you're not, then don't waste your time. Obviously, you've lost trust in her. And so naturally, that's going to be difficult. Unless somehow, tell her, listen, I can't be with you anymore because I don't trust you. And if 10 years relationship is not enough to create a bond and give importance to what we are to each other, obviously there is nothing else I can rely on. I relied on our relationship, length of relationship, the challenges that we went through, how we supported each other, how we backed each other, how we interacted with the world, the two of us against the world, so to speak. And this is what you do. And see what she says. If she can somehow bring to your heart that she fucked up. And then you tell her, look, I'm going to do the same as you did. I got to even up the score. So find me a girlfriend. You find me the girlfriend. Anyhow, you will have a discussion with her and see how you feel. If you didn't feel good, then you walk away. Doesn't matter if it's 10 years or 20 years. They all end somehow. This particular one could be ending this way. So that's how it is. It's not the end of the world. So you can't forgive it, forgive her, then don't. Just move on. Free yourself. If you think you can, maybe you tell her, listen, I gotta be with some girl too, so I even it up. Maybe that'll help. And if not, just tell her, look. And if you can live with it, then say, okay, it's up to you. But you don't have to feel stuck. Steven says, hello, Miran. Hello, Steven. Male 40, Los Angeles. Steven says, I began this meditation program a few days ago, and it's really helping. Okay, great. Great. We have a elaborate meditation right here on this channel. You have the guided meditation right here. So you don't have to go too far. That's a great meditation, amazing power, but you got to keep doing it till you start feeling what it is that I've been sharing with you guys. So just go on the channel, put in meditation. You'll have guided meditation, explained everything. I'm sure you've experienced it on live streamings that when we did meditation. We used to do meditation every time before we start the live or during it. And Stephen says, I gave the girl I'm dating so much space and she seems much more attracted and interested now. I'll continue to focus on myself more than I have been focusing on her. Good, good. Abdi says, how do I know if it's HOCD? And you know, there's nothing, there is nothing sinister about it. It's the malfunction of the signaling system of the brain. That's all. You don't change. How do you know? You're born as whatever you're born. You're born heterosexual, you're going to be heterosexual the rest of your life. Unless you want to be something against your makeup and your nature and how you've been created, that's your choice. But otherwise, you're not going to change. You know, as I mentioned before, you're not cow's milk. Today you're milk. A few days later, temperature affects the milk and you become buttermilk. And then maybe a week or so, or again, you become yogurt. And then eventually, days later, atmosphere, temperature, you become cheese. That's not how it works. Gender doesn't change. The chromosomes have already programmed and taken shape, and your genes are set and genomes are set. Unless you're in an environment that you are constantly being suggested to, and you're weak-minded, and you end up getting involved in activities that you're not interested in by gender or by inclination, but you get convinced to, like how someone who is heterosexual and is a child and perverts around school, whatnot, they take advantage and convince the child or somebody to get him do some things that he's not made that way. That's the only way. Otherwise, nobody turns anything. If you're born homosexual, you're not going to turn into heterosexual. You're going to embrace it like anybody else, enjoy your life, be productive, accomplish what you're here to accomplish, and live and contribute to the society and make this world a better place. If you're born heterosexual, you do the same thing. You enjoy your life, be productive, be good role models, and make this world a better place for all of us. So what are you afraid of? The only thing here is your brain, that you're believing this brain, which is just an apparatus, a material process. And it malfunctions, and it's been proven, and I spoke about it for 25 minutes at the beginning of this discussion. All right. All you need to know is who you are, what you like, what you've always been, what you like to be, and your choice. That's all. It doesn't matter what shows up on your brain. That's how you know it's HOCD, because it's not your preference, it's not your inclination, it's not your choice. That's all. There's nothing else you need. You don't need a proof. What proof? All right. By the way, this is a terrible tea. I ran out of green tea, and I went to a store last night. I couldn't find green tea. For heaven's sake, not the real good green tea that I usually had. There was some mixed teas, this and that mixed. And I went to another store. Finally, I found something. I don't like it. First of all, the tea bags were in chlorinated bags, like the white color. I want the brown ones, which is not bleached. And secondly, I don't know, it's maybe leftover teas. It's not good. But anyhow, it's here. So we have Aman says, what to do if somebody who. What's going on? All right. Aman says, what to do if somebody who just involved in our project, which we built entirely, and that person just did small work and tried to make it look like his own project and try to take it away. What to do? Well, you guys are a bunch of you, right? So you will just tell the teacher, the instructor, that this is what this guy is doing. We don't like it. Or tell him, listen, there are a bunch of us, we're all witness that you didn't do much. Now you want to fuss and try to pretend that you did, to take credit for all the things that we've done. We're not stupid. And because you haven't done much, now you're rising up to this level in order to convince the teacher or us that you care about this. We don't care about it. You're going to get the credit of it because you're part of us. But you want to play this, then we're going to get all together, write a complaint that you didn't participate enough. Now you're trying to manipulate the group. So comply and behave normally and stop this. And talk with the other kids and get them to notice what's been happening. So you don't need a leader who hasn't been involved in the actual project. So and Swati says, Lol Mehran, you just made my day. Thank you for this. I don't know what I said. It's been too long away from a conversation. But anyhow, glad that you're here and enjoying it. Abid says, how HLW, what is that? HLW? How? But, okay. All right. Maybe it's hello. It says, dear sir, may Allah give you a long life. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Abdi says, inshallah. Well, thank you, Abdi. And Abhishek, talking to Swati, okay. Aman says, I suck at presentations to people about my project. I want a style which can convince me. I searched a lot of presentation, but I didn't like any of them. All are similar. How to find which I want? Look, you just get your fact together. Say, I don't know what the project is, how many we are, how many of us worked on this, and what we had to do to come up with this completion of this project, the research we did. These are the books or the programs that we try to learn from, if you think that's needed for. And this is how what the project is about. This is how we, put it together, the material that we needed, and this is how it functions. And it's for the purpose of this, and it will serve this purpose. It will solve this problem, and And then we hope to hear from you after our presentation and seeing how it functions. We are open for questions and answers. There's not much to it. I don't know what it is, so I can't go any further than this. Chester says, okay, Chester Abdi, okay. Okay, and Daniel Drummer Baguti. Well, if it was Bugatti, then I would know it's the car, my favorite car. Says, I've discovered you a few weeks ago and I love your videos. Greetings from Switzerland. Ah, you're quite welcome. And let me know your gender, age, and now I know you're from Switzerland. I've been in Switzerland when I was a kid with my. No, actually, I went from Mannheim to. What was it? I went to Switzerland, but I went to, I think, Zurich. Yeah? Yeah. And I had some banking to do and I had some lunch. It was nice. It was very nice. I really liked it. Beautiful place. My father used to live there on and off and worked there. Um, he was a lawyer and he was representing some Swiss corporation at the time. So he traveled there a lot and he told me it's beautiful. And when he came to Canada, he said Canada is a large size of Switzerland. All the beauty and all that. So, so let me know, Daniel. I guess that's your name. And Slobodan says, "Hello, Meran. Hello, Slobodan. Don't forget the protocol, guys. I don't remember. I remember your names or screen names, but I don't remember the age, gender, and where you're tuning in from and all that. Please don't deny me on that." And OCD HZZZ says, "Hi. How to stop test you?" Okay, I said don't test. Wine Love says, "I found out about your channel recently. I wish I knew before and would have made appointments with you. I know your Skype info now in case for the future." For sure. Wine Love. And Chester says, "Thanks, Meran. Your advice reminds me of the saying of the glass is half full or half empty. I'm always pessimistic. I guess I need to change my mindset and see these things as a learning experience." Well, it's not necessarily human beings' fault to be pessimistic and have a hard time to accept all the good things that are happening for them and constantly gravitate toward negativity. And that's because the brain's structure is based on negative function. Because it's supposed to protect you. To protect you, it must constantly conjure up and look for negative things, disasters. So we kind of live in the world of paranoia, anxiety, and negativity. That's the gravitation of the function of the brain. So if you're aware of it, then you understand that it is not your preference that you're being negative. It's the way the brain functions that turns everything into gloom. And the reason for that is to protect you because its job is security. And guess, show me any security guard, a serious security guard for any important person or event that is sitting and putting his feet up or her feet up and smoking a cigarette or having tea or coffee. No, they're up like a turkey looking everywhere. You know, they're looking aware and they're looking for trouble. So their whole mindset is negative, is trouble, because that brings alertness, sharpness, to be on this state of heightened state of alertness. Your sympathetic nerves are heightened, ready, fight or flight. You know, um, so that's the default position of the brain. You need to work on it and allow it and command it and announce it that, okay, settle down. stand down. It's all right. Accept the good things. Be grateful. That's why many people have a hard time to have gratitude, because they're constantly hardwired or constantly conditioned, not hardwired, conditioned to be negative and angry and anxious and paranoid and looking for a fight, because that's how we always protect ourselves throughout million years. All these natural and non-natural disasters and dangers and hazards. So that's part of our nature of being. You see, some people are always like negative or ugly looking, or they give themselves an ugly impression, or they look like they're unhappy or angry, or they expect something. That's their mechanism of defense, because they're fearful, they're afraid, they feel insecure. A person who's got lots of bodyguards around him or her, or a person who's very strong or happy and confident, not afraid, you won't see them being like this. You see them smiling face, nice and helloing and saying hello, and or just not interacting, but have a pleasant expression on their face, because they're not trying to fear anyone out of their way. They actually believe by being who they are, their roads, they have a strong energy extended, and the negativity will go away from their road, from their way, because they extend positive powers, and this positive powers kind of washes away all the shit on their way. But other people who don't know about these abilities or techniques, they try to fear their way, open their way through fear. But it's their own fear that is causing them to look ugly and be angry and vicious. That doesn't show that they're powerful. It actually shows that they're fearful and they're weak. That's why they're it's like somebody walking in the street and being like this. Does that mean that he's comfortable? It means he's scared. So same thing, somebody doing like this and looking angry or dissatisfied all the time. It's not that he's credible or he's an important person. It's he's a scaredy cat. He's shitting in his pants. It's got anxieties. It's not happy. It's fearful. That's weakness. The strongest states of human being is when you're relaxed. Mind and body coordinated. Just like when you just came out of the meditation. You're coordinated with mind and mind and body is now coordinated with nature. You're one with the nature. There's no difference. You're in harmony. The energy flows easily, strongly. And that oneness with the whole, alone, all one, gives you the power of having tranquility, assurance, and facial expressions that is becoming of you and is confident in actuality. Because there's so much tremendous energy is flowing forward, which opens the road, and no need for hostility or anger or fear to have it open, and other people become fearful of your looks. But that's the expression that you have because you're fearful yourself. All right. And Sid says, hello, General. Oh, hello, Sid. Yes. Wine Love says, thanks for the advice, but this secret can definitely make some friends judge me and even leave me. So what? They're not friends if they leave you because of whatever secret they find out about you. It's a very embarrassing secret. I would not be able to walk down the street with my head upright. Well, I think, I don't know, maybe it's calls for a Skype appointment, because I don't know what's going on in your head, but obviously something is. She says, I can't sleep due to catastrophic imagination. What would happen if my friends find out and ruin the reputation I built so well for the past 30 years? Well, again, I love to help you, but I don't know what's going on, so you can always deny it. Says, what? It's nonsense. You say nonsense. But again, Skype is there. If you felt there's a need, you can always make an appointment with me, and we'll explore it together, one-on-one. Luna says, Alhamdulillah, I'm pleased to hear of your brother recovery and that the family, Rain included, are keeping well. Thank you very much, Luna Jan. I appreciate that. Luna says, I know what you mean when you speak of memory loss. It is needed a melancholic place to be, as I too felt it when witnessing the aging of my late mama son and now my baba son's hearing is waning. But Alhamdulillah, he is still with us and keeping us and keeping as well as can be. Good, good. Yeah, it's so important, and they someday all go, and I don't know. None of us are ready for that. I mean, who is ready? My dad is picture is on the wall, and he's not with us, and he was so important to me. And it looks like that I don't always, while he's always in my mind, I know who I am through myself. I know him, and through him I know myself. And we continue life. And when they are alive, we don't realize how important they are. I mean, we do, but not as much as when they're not. And we have no access to them anymore. So who is ready? Nobody. But it happens to all of us, unfortunately. Even to ourselves that we're talking right now together. Someday, I won't be here. And, well, maybe. Anyhow, let's go on to Abdi says, thank you. You have helped me more than any other person who made videos on this OCD. Delighted to hear that, Abdi. So talk about it on your social media and promote it and let people know that this channel exists, the content is here, and whether it's under breakups or OCDs or HOCD or other topics and subsets of OCD, we are here, the support is here, and encourage them to get to know so we can reach more people and help more people. OCD says, I have 27 years, never ever had any feelings on same sex, always opposite. This HOCD makes me horrible. Yeah, I know, it's terrible, is it? But you know what? It's just one of the deficiencies that the brain has, human psyche, human brain has. And we are all in development process. Our brain is only like 40,000 years ago. 75,000 years ago, apparently there was some kind of a notion of speaking or thought possibility, and then again it went away. And only 40,000 years ago, we began to have the ability to speak and think. So we are very new in this apparatus, and it's not really working well all the time. So, but it's so powerful that it can make you think things that are not there, feelings that are not there. And then if you focus on awareness, not thoughts or brain's function, awareness and intellect and your choices and how you are, who you are, you've always been, what your preferences are, what you like, and focus and protect that, your values, what's meaningful to you, your wise advocate, your gatekeeper, your principles, your super consciousness, who you are, those values, you protect them, then these things won't have a chance to convince you, to bamboozle you that you are something that you've never been or you don't want to be. Anyhow, we have two really good playlists, which I'm sure everybody attests to it, who have watched it. Intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts is one playlist. It's got a number of videos that is in detail interpreting thoughts and things that show up in your brain and feelings and emotions, and discusses that, why and what the roots are and so on and so forth. And then we have another playlist which doesn't interpret anything but talks about the relationship between brain, its malfunction, its abilities and inabilities and limitations, thought and you. Brain, thoughts, and you. It talks about this and shows you the separation between brain, thoughts, and you. And once you understand this, then it doesn't matter what conscious or what shows up in your head. You know. Brain is not you, you're not the brain. Therefore, thoughts that are made by brain is not you, and you're not thoughts. And you are the supreme commander. You're above it all. And you understand where your place is and where the role of all these apparatuses are. And they're just that, apparatus, tools. Brain is not you, it's not the intellect. You are the intellect, you're the awareness. And once you see these videos talking about it, and you become to know about who you are. Where is you? That you, where is you in this whole existence entity? You're aware of the brain and you think brain is you. That's the mistake. And then you discover where is you. And I've got videos that actually explains that and shows you that you're outside of the brain. You're not the brain. You're not part of the brain. You're outside of the brain. You're the observer of the brain's function. And that's a big difference than thinking that the brain is you, that you're part of the brain. You're not. Brain is part of the apparatuses that has been added to you, but there was a me, there was a you before any of these things added to you. These capabilities, you know, the brain and speaking and thinking and so on. And thoughts are the roots of problems. That's what you should focus. Once you understand that, then more than 90% of the thing is done. And the other one is just you got to continue educating yourself until it becomes, through neuroplasticity, you rewire your brain and teach it the manners and the behavior that you expect from it for who you are. Samuel says, hi, male 38, Miami. Says, what do you think about people who date or marry someone new right away after the breakup? They're stupid. And they're weak and scared and stupid. They try to affirm themselves and they just want to cover something with something else without knowing this something else is qualified or not. It's a very silly thing to do. I don't care if it's just after a breakup or not. You need time to get to know each other's consciousness. You can't just get married to someone. What are you getting married to? To pleasure? You're supposed to live together. See how you react to matters of life, the challenges of life, to happenings of life. How do you support each other? How you understand each other? How you deal and negotiate the challenges of life? How well can you be part of that entity that wants to create that household? Otherwise, getting married is easy. Oh, you're horny. Oh, you're hot. Okay, you're pretty. Oh, yeah, you got lots of money. Okay, this and that. Okay, we're good together. We laughed. We went to a movie and we like being intimate. So, okay, let's get married. Okay, now what? All right. And he says, and what to do about breakup? Ego is such a bad thing. I broke up with my girlfriend almost a year ago, but I keep thinking about out past and think, oh man, I should have said this when she did that to me, or I should have done this or that. Yeah, but you know, when something doesn't exist, it doesn't matter what you should or shouldn't. The fact is, it cannot threaten you, cannot bother you anymore. You broke up. So it doesn't matter. What do you want to score? Oh, I should have said this so she wouldn't think that way. She would think this way. Because if she thinks this way, then I'm big. If she doesn't think that way, then I think she's the whole world. The problem is that you think what you're experiencing is the whole entirety of the world. If she sees you or react to her in a certain way, the whole world knows this is how you said what you said, and you should have said it this way. So now the whole world is watching. This is your understanding. It's not true. Nobody knows and nobody gives a damn how you said things, how you didn't. She won or she didn't. How you were able to be the boss or she was the boss. The world doesn't give a shit. They have their own shit to clean up. They worry about who's thinking what about them. You're thinking about what are they going to think about me? My goodness, somebody's smoking weed here and it's coming in, and I'm just pretty much, I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess. Secondhand weed. Okay. And then he says, I do not regret dumping her due to her lack of character, but by seeing her being happy, come on now, seeing her being happy, a fish is happy, but to you it looks like he's happy. She's just doing her life. Everybody is entitled to be happy. What's wrong with being happy? But what makes her happy is not important to you. It's not going to make you happy. I mean, you could be happy with, I don't know, eating an ice cream, and somebody else could be happy by, I don't know, chewing on something that is totally tasteless to you. And now you're going to say, oh, she's happy. Yeah, but she's having something that is tasteless to you. Why don't you focus on what makes you happy? The ice cream, or whatever it is that you like. Instead, you're focusing on how she lives, how she feels, how happy she is. That's why you think that's important, because you're focusing on that. Focus on yourself, focus on your own life, then you wouldn't even be concerned about who else doing what, whether they're happy or not, because you're so focused on your own life. And that's what you should be doing. This is why you keep thinking about her, because you're not focusing on your own life. Focus on your own life, automatically the rest of the stuff will disappear. Says her being happy with new man right after I dumped her. So what? Often you having a beautiful, delicious sandwich you bought from a very fancy restaurant, but then, you gag or you somehow, something jumps into your throat and you cough and a piece of it falls on the floor and there's a birdie coming and taking it. That's what that birdie can get happy with, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. It's for the birdie, it's a good thing. So the girl you dumped, let's say you say, and then she jumped with another guy and she's happy. Well, that's what makes her happy. She is that level. That's her standard. She can get happy with that sort of thing. But what does it have to do with you? If her standards are low, why would it be a reflection on you? It's a reflection on her. Smell of weed, bad tea. Gee, my day's made. Yuck. And so it says, happy with a new man right after I dumped her. Wow, that hurts. Come on now. First of all, you're 38 years old. Now listen, 38 years old, you talk like this. I gotta get the ugly stick and get on a plane and break this over your head. Wear your motorcycle helmet because I'm gonna hit it hard. You're talking nonsense. You're distracting yourself from the reality of life, a real life. You're supposed to focus on your life, build your life. Be conscious about what it is that you want to produce and accomplish in this life. You're talking about some girl being happy with another guy. Who gives a shit? Makes me question my decision. Why? So if somebody comes and picks up some low quality clothing that is hanging on the shelves, and you saw that and you said, that's not a good material, doesn't have a right color textile, I don't want that. But just because some idiot coming and taking it, suddenly you're going to change your mind. How weak-minded are you? That's good for them, not good for you. If it was good for you, you had seen it first, you would have hung up to it. You didn't. Why? Because it wasn't good enough. And you know that for sure. So, the hell with it. Now she can be happy with whatever else, and somebody else can pick up that, clothes on the racks What's it to you? Let them be happy. You go and find out your own style and class and standards. And Samuel says, did my behavior change her to be toxic in our relation? Ah, come on. These are what you're going to... I'm not going to even read the rest of it. You're just beating yourself on your head. Don't. Is this new man somehow making... Yeah. No, it's all bullshit. Yeah, this is what you would think, because that's the way that the men think about themselves when their girl is chosen by some other guy when they didn't think she's suitable for them. It's because of the weakness of the brain and not being so focused on believing in your choices and counting and protecting your values, that even though you think she was not good enough and didn't meet the standards that you expect, but yet you see it in somebody else's relationship, and suddenly you feel, oh, maybe she was good. Well, that's because you don't have any real belief and value for yourself. I told you the story of Nasruddin, the Turkish philosopher. 1,000 years ago, this Nasruddin, Turkish philosopher, was going on a bakery to buy bread. And it was hard times in the world, and things were tough and tight. But there was a kilometer, or maybe 5 or 6 blocks, 600 meters or so on, line up to the bakery. So he said, for God's sake, how am I going to get any bread by the time I get to be my turn? The bread is finished. The baker is going to run out of bread. So what am I going to do? So the philosopher thinks, says, and sees about 3 blocks away, you can see a chimney is having smoke coming out of it. He thinks of something. He says, hey, people. Everybody turns and says, do you know what that smoke out of that chimney is? They're giving steak free. Everybody rushes to that smoke where that it was, thinking that there's a free steak given. And here it is. There's bakery and mullah, Nasruddin, and nobody in between. It's his turn. He thinks it, says, gee, what if there is really giving steak there? Holy shit, I got it. So he runs, and again he's at the end of the line. So because he has no belief in himself. That's why you think whatever other people have must be something, even if it's the same shit that you just were swimming in it and you got out of it. You say, thank God I could jump in the ocean and clean myself. And they say somebody else playing with the same toy, a bicycle or ball or whatever it is, and you say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have kicked that ball away. Maybe it's a good bicycle. Maybe that's a good ball. Maybe it is a good place to be. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I was... It's all because you haven't learned to focus on your values and hold your values high and protect them. That's the problem. All right, the rest of it is just bullshit. I'm not even going to read it, because you just need assurances, and you don't need assurances. Just understand that you did what you did. Yeah, Slobodan, yeah, that's how HOCD behaves. But it's thoughts, and the brain makes the body react. Then when the body reacts, the reaction is felt, and because you feel it, you think the thought and the suggestion is real. That's why you say HOCD thoughts feel like I want them and like them. No, it's a suggestion, and the suggestion is a malfunction of the signaling system, that it lingers. Otherwise, in usual cases, when the brain is not malfunctioning under signaling system, when intrusive thoughts of such thoughts that you're experiencing shows up, striatum, which mainly the caudate nucleus, acts as an automatic gear shift, shuts it down, and then you go about your business. Because everybody in the world has intrusive thoughts. Everybody in the world has intrusive thoughts. But when their caudate nucleus, their system, signaling system, is not malfunctioning, when the intrusive thought shows up, they say, ooh, that's bad thoughts. And then caudate nucleus clicks on and automatically shuts down and gets your focus somewhere else, and the intrusive thoughts disappear. But when people Some people, many who have OCD, anxiety, and so on, and then there's a malfunction in the signaling system of the brain. It doesn't work as automatic as it should. It doesn't shut down. And the message lingers and cannot get back to prefrontal cortex to say, hey, we're not interested in this shit. And because it lingers, you think, oh, it must be a message there. That must be me. No. I've talked 25 minutes. At the beginning of this discussion, they've proven that brain is not you. There's a intellect, awareness above the brain that actually vetoes brain. And brain is material process, but your life, who you are, is not material process. It's beyond the material process. That's why it cannot be interfered with by the brain to make you think you're not the gender you've always been. Like you're heterosexual, suggests that you're homosexual, or you're in denial, you're changing, or you want to kiss another guy. These are all messed up messages that shows up by the brain. It's not you, it's an independent system. So understanding this will set you free to just say, okay, I understand the malfunction, I understand anxiety-driven, thought-driven, and it's not me, I don't have to comply. It's no different than somebody else saying all these things that your brain says. If somebody else says, oh, fuck off, that's nonsense to me. But because it's coming from the brain which is mounted on your head, you think, oh, it must mean something because it's part of me. No, it's part of you. So is your intestine. It sheds out. So is shed you? No, it's what it does. It creates poo-poo. You eat food, turns into energy, and a bunch of it is residues and feces, and it's got to get rid of it. But it's your intestine. It's coming from you. So does that mean that it's representing you? No, it just means an apparatus that is its job. So the brain's job is to make thoughts, and it malfunctions. Just like, your intestine malfunctions, you get diarrhea. Are you going to think what? Oh, I like diarrhea because, it's me coming out of me. It must be me. I am diarrhea. No, you understand there's a malfunction. It's a physical, biological malfunction. But when it comes to the brain, you can't focus on the fact that the brain malfunctions too. And this is a malfunction. It's got no basis. Your gender hasn't changed. You're not living in denial. You're not turning gay. Nothing of that sort has happened. You cannot change. Your gender doesn't change. It's a malfunction of your brain suggesting things that it doesn't even care what it is suggesting. It doesn't care who you are. Its job, through thoughts and anxiety and latching onto negative things as far as you're concerned, that's what it does. It's trying to protect you, but it's overdoing it and doesn't know that, okay, you can say, okay, I got it. Thank you for the alert. No, I'm not interested in these sort of things, so let it be. But it doesn't let it be. It just keeps going, and then you get fooled by thinking, oh, it must mean something. So you got to understand all these things and free yourself from that and understand that it's malfunctioning, and that's a signaling system. And just like any part of us, we malfunction. Electrical system malfunction, mechanical systems malfunction. That's where our biological system malfunctions in every part of it, and the brain also malfunctions. But when it comes to brain, suddenly you think, no, brain is intelligent. No, it's not. It's actually most stupid part of our being because it thinks it knows things and it doesn't. That's stupidity. Brain is a computer, is a computing facility, is a calculator. It calculates, it computes things. It doesn't think really. It reacts to things and conjures up things. Its mandate is to protect you as a security system, so it comes up with things. So you have to understand that. It's its job. But when it goes malfunctioning, its job doesn't seem to be a job anymore because it keeps pushing on it, and you have no idea what you, brain and thoughts are, and you get fooled to think what it's saying is what you are. But to begin with, you are not the brain. Brain is not you. Therefore, you don't have to believe that what it's saying is you are, because you are way different than what the brain suggests. And you were made and created in the wombs of your mother before brain was ever had the ability to think or speak. So thoughts, brain had nothing to do with your creation, and it has nothing to do with modifying, changing, or threatening you in any way, shape, or form. That's what you got to understand. Oh, look at the reflection of light in my face. Look like a bunch of. Hang on, guys, for a second. Let me warm up my tea and I close that light up there. All right. Okay. Can you guys see me? So, I guess that's better. So we have Anur Emre says 20 male turkey. Okay, thank you for that. And Leah 24 says, what is false attraction exactly? It's something that you think you're attracted to, but you think you are. Therefore, because you think you are, but you're not. Because that is not your makeup. It's a suggestion of the brain. If you watch my playlist, Intrusive, Transient, OCD, HOCD, Negative Thoughts, you get lots of interpretations of all these things and reactions and thoughts and stuff like that. Finn says, bad green tea has that fishy flavor. Hate it. It's not fishy. It's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. Just, it's like an old, I don't know. It's low quality. It's low quality. I don't like it. You might like it. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't want to say the brand name of it because I don't want to give him a bad rap. But anyhow, you know what is good, what is bad yourselves. And Engludani says, Salam Mehran, Chator Hastid, thank you very much. Good. Says, do you have any advice for learning how to read and write Farsi? Yeah, just there are lots of programs on YouTube. Just pick up one of those. You know, you can learn almost any language. I spent lots of time many years ago to learn some Russian on YouTube, and it was pleasant. It was easy, so I learned a few sentences here and there. It's just good for some socializing and stuff like that. And Nglugani says, Nglugani says 23, male London. And Leah says 20, female France. Bonsoir, mademoiselle. Comment ça va aujourd'hui? I guess it's evening there. Huh? Juanpa says male 25, Costa Rica. Pura vida, mera. Pura vida, Juanpa. Good to see you, dear. Juanpa says lightning looking good. Lightning looking, okay, good, thank you. All right, so we have Charu Smita. Charu, what happened to you? I thought you said you were going to make an appointment with me. Hope you're doing well. It says female 32 India. Hi Meran. Hope you're well. It says I'm due for a promotion, and I'm scared if I take it. Will I be able to do well? Of course. The fact that you're questioning it, that means you're concerned about the outcome, which means you're not okay with not doing good, which will propel you to do the best you can do. It says also it may mean more time at work and less of personal time. Well, if you interpret your work to your life, then you may give it priority, and you will set personal times, and you will set your professional time, and you will not think one is interfering with the other because you have given them, allocated them portions of your available time. And then once you've allocated and said, for me to get here, I got to do these things. To do these things and accomplish these things, I need this much dedication or focus and time on this particular segment of my life. And for my personal life, I need this much time in order to get it to where I want it to go. So you allocate those times, and no longer you question it. You just do what you got to do. You can't be working and constantly say, oh, see, I'm getting away from my personal life. I'm doing this. So you'll never be able to do a good job. Why? Because your mind is at somewhere else when you're trying to do a work, to do a project. And when you're at your personal, then you say, oh, you know, I should have had this success and that success, but I don't. Well, because you constantly bickering about the time that you're taking away from your personal life when you're working, so you're not focusing on doing a good job at your work, so you won't really accomplish good. You don't really complete tasks as good as you should, so you don't get the promotions that you're looking for, which you're about to get right now, and you're bickering about it instead of saying, hey, that's great, I'm going to take it, I'm going to go for it as long as I can, and then I'll decide maybe a few years from now what it is going to be. Let's say you don't have that. How's your personal life right now? Is it going to hurt if you have another position right now? It's not going to hurt. Maybe it's going to make you feel even better about yourself. If you did see that the only way to save your personal life is to quit your job or get demoted, then you'll decide then. But I think if you manage it well, it's all in management of your time. You are a corporation yourself. And this corporation, there are different departments. And each department will have different duties and mandates. And there's certain kind of resources for each department to complete their mandates and projects. And you got to distribute that. As a head of the corporation that you are, you're the head of your own corporation. Each one of us are a corporation. We got to handle ourselves, manage ourselves, and lead ourselves, and give resources. So give certain resources to this part of your life, certain resources to the other part of your life, and that's how it's done. All right. Christina says, hi, Mehran, female 27, New York. Happy to see you. You are the best, and this channel is a gem. Thank you, Christina. Delighted to hear that from you, and a wonderful feedback. I appreciate that. I hope you will continue referring your friends and people who need it to our channel, and give them the opportunity to learn and educate themselves and get help, because support is here, whether it's for breakups and relationships, got over 2,000 videos, or it's about mental health and OCDs and HOCDs and substance of OCDs, and so on. We are here, and I think we've done a good job on this channel. I agree with you. And only I just got to find a sound engineer to fix these videos that I just did a few nights ago, and I'm really, really sad because I don't want to redo them. I don't know how to redo them. I don't remember what I said because, you know, I'm off the cuff. So if you guys have an expert in sound engineering, music, sound, vocal engineering, the people who have studios and do engineering work with the sounds, and they can extract extra sounds, voices, noises out and clear, you know, that's a company, that's a person I need. But I don't want to spend lots of money either. So I don't want to have that done. Okay, maybe we can you know, see what's available. Jack says, hello, Mehran. Hello, Colonel. What's happening with you? And La Leona says, are you married? Says, I'm crushing on you, lol. Well, thank you. You know, just let me know. Let me know at least that you know, that you're a woman. At least give me something that I would be saying thank you. I appreciate that. Because you have no information here. Age, gender, where you're tuning in from, which country. Han says, male 30, Netherlands. I broke up 6 months ago with my girlfriend that I have had for a year. Okay. I felt she wasn't the one while in the relationship, but now I do. Is my brain tricking me? I'm broken. Well, right now you're not thinking about her. You're thinking about the pleasure and intimacy and how you felt when things were good. Selectively, you're choosing all the good things of the relationship, and then you're questioning, why did I break up with her? Everything was good. Why? Because you're only thinking about all the good things that was in the relationship. Why don't you focus on the reason that you broke up with her and focus on who she is, how she is, and the compatibility, the conditionings she's received in her consciousness, what is the content of her consciousness, why were you guys compatible or not, what were the same reasons that caused you to break up still exist, but you're not focusing on them anymore, but then you were. So whatever it is, it's done, and so go on with another year. Where are you? You're in Netherlands, land of beautiful women. So what's your beef? Go and find another pretty girl there. Just everywhere is pretty girls in Netherlands. I mean, almost everywhere in the world, but including Netherlands. So stop bickering and go find another one. So that wasn't the only one. And you're 30 years older. Jesus, so many opportunities out there. Luna says, hope you stay safe and well until next time, Meranjan, and thank you for all that you do for us. Good night. Good night there. Oh, I better also, I've got another appointment coming up, so I better get ready for that. And Carpe says, thank you for all you do. Stay blessed, Meran. And La Leona says, I'm a woman, 53-year-old, love USA. Thank you for that very much, La Leona. I wish you a wonderful day and be safe, all of you. It's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to talk to you again. Tonight at 9 p.m., I'm planning to have another live talk for the Australia and India and Pakistan and Iran and Asian countries, New Zealand and New Zealand is like, but Netherlands and not Netherlands, I'm sorry, Philippines and Singapore and so on and so forth. Asian countries and Australia, New Zealand and so on. So if you guys join me tonight, great. If not, we'll look forward for the next Saturday at 1 p.m. Vancouver time and 9 p.m. Vancouver time, almost every Saturday unless something that doesn't allow me to have that. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.